Willie D Live.
What's up, family? If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you're representing. Throw up your flag. Family, I need you to smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already on YouTube, after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you'll be in the loop. I'll let a few hundred of y'all come in, then I'm going in. But in the meantime and in between time, I am going to give some shots out to the early birds, starting with Dun, Dun, Dun. Moses Salas. Yeah, what up? Connie Hodge. What's up, Connie? Richard Green. What it look like? What's up, Big Ron? Trayvon Max Sellers. Is that Trayvon Max Sellers? What it look like? Kevin German. Gary Harper. Victor Wood, Chattanooga, Tennessee, in the mother effing house. What's up, Tanja? Ken B, San Diego. Miss Deluxe. What up, what up, what up? Okay, fam, I'll come back to the chat in a minute. Okay, wait a minute. I'll give a few more shout outs and then I'll get into the story. Got some interesting things to say here, fam, about this story. And I got some info, some news you can use, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Derek Brown. That's right. Howard. What's up, ATL? Stock Exchange Productions. Pure Michigan. That's dope, right? That's a dope name right there. Pure Michigan. Angela Jefferson. All right, fam, going in. Everybody else just going to have to catch up. So, it looked like old buddy got us, fam. Looked like he got us. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office released some new details on the man's arrest for leaving kids at McDonald's to go job hunting, allegedly. Fam, on Wednesday, in response to the outcry of requests from local and national media, Richmond County authorities released a full report Wednesday with more details into their investigation, saying that the father was not really looking for a job while the children were at McDonald's. But he had been job hunting earlier that day. Follow me now. He was not looking for a job at the time the kids were left at McDonald's, but he had been job hunting earlier that day. Before I go on, family, let me preface this live with the fact that it's heartbreaking to get people to come together for a worthy cause, right? And then you find out that somebody did something slick and the person that you was trying to help was not forthcoming, right? But that don't mean that, as my man AJ said, that don't mean that we just all of a sudden never help anybody else again. That don't mean you become cynical. Everybody that donated, everybody that shared, the post, everybody that made a comment, if you invested anything, any kind of time whatsoever, your heart was in the right place. Your heart was in the right place, so you can't be mad about that. And can't nobody hold that against you. That's on him, not us, right? There are some people out there are just cynical. And, you know, not only do they not believe anybody, but they ain't going to help anybody, right? Like, I got it. I think that because of so many people playing games, you got to be careful. You got to be careful, where you put your money at and who you support, because so many people lie, right? I get that. But I ain't never going to just shut down and not help anybody. Just say, because so many people lie. Because so many people ain't really forthcoming, I'll never believe anybody else, period. Now, I'm still going to continue to take these cases one case at a time. I'm going to look at what the evidence is at that moment with what I have, and then I'll make an educated decision based on the education that I have about that particular case. That's all I can do. It's like the people who give money on the streets, which is something I don't do. But there are people out there that give out money on the streets. I prefer to do charities, but there are some people that give money to street guys. And if a street guy is out there with some candy or something, some water, if they offering a service, man, I'll shoot them a high 20 for one bottle of water or something, because I appreciate the effort. But if they just standing out there able-bodied and holding up a sign, sticking their hand out like a cup, man, you better kick rocks. But for some people, they'll tell you quickly, man, that's between him and God. I did my part. You feel what I'm saying? So we did our part. Everything else between him and God and his conscience. Moving on. So Chris Lewis, the 24-year-old father from Augusta, Georgia, was arrested on March 22nd after leaving his 3 children, ages 10, 6, and 1, at a McDonald's with the playground, telling deputies that he was attending a job interview nearby. Chris, who did not have a car, walked his children to the McDonald's and felt it was a safe place to leave them for the short time he would be at the interview. After he returned to pick them up, a customer at the McDonald's called the police, and Chris was arrested and charged with deprivation of a minor. Captain Danny Whitehead conducted a follow-up investigation and noted inconsistencies regarding the whereabouts of Chris during the period when the children were left unattended at the restaurant. The 10-year-old child told officers that she, her father, and 2 siblings had walked to McDonald's from the Hendricks apartments. She said they were left to deliver. She said her dad left to deliver a backpack to the Hendricks apartments and told her he would return shortly. The child also mentioned that her father frequently left them alone. The child also mentioned that her father frequently left them alone. She didn't say if he frequently left them alone at the house or at McDonald's, at the park, or at a bus stop. She just said he frequently left them alone. 2 witnesses both reported arriving at the restaurant at approximately 4:30 p.m. Saturday and observing the children there without adult supervision. They recalled that the father was on the phone with someone and was overheard saying he needed to drop something off. The witnesses stated that after this, the father left McDonald's, leaving the children behind. They estimated the children were alone for approximately an hour and a half. I counted, it turned out to be an hour and 42 minutes. The 10-year-old daughter contacted her mother on social media at approximately 6 p.m. The mother, Lisette Picardo, arrived at McDonald's at approximately 6:12 p.m. She advised that Mr. Lewis was supposed to deliver a backpack to her at the Hendricks Apartments and had been told that he must take the children with him. Y'all following? The mother advised that Mr. Lewis was supposed to deliver a backpack to her. At the Hendricks Apartments and had been told that he must take the children with him. Picardo immediately called Mr. Lewis, who answered the phone and stated that he was on his way back to McDonald's from the Hendricks. Chris arrived at McDonald's at approximately 6:18 p.m., still in possession of the backpack. He told Picardo that he had been trying to find her to give her the backpack. She reminded him that he was not supposed to leave the children unattended. Chris claimed that he and the children were at McDonald's earlier that day because he had filled out a job application at the West Bank Inn, located adjacent to McDonald's, and was waiting for a call back for a possible interview. Y'all following this, fam? This is the follow-up report. This is the follow-up report from the police. I got some more after that, fam, besides what the police giving you. I got some more information. Lewis claimed he and the children were at McDonald's earlier that day because he had filled out a job application at the West Bank Inn, located adjacent to McDonald's. Remember, everybody was saying, well, how far was the interview? We don't know how far it was. The interview was next door. But watch this, fam. Watch how this goes. So he said that he had filled out a job application at the West Bank Inn, located adjacent to the McDonald's, and was waiting for a call back for a possible interview. He said he left to deliver the backpack to the Hendricks, but during that time, he lost his ID and another card and had been retracking his steps to find them. To verify this, Captain Whitehead visited the West Bank Inn and spoke with the manager. Yeah. Oh, it's getting serious now, fam. The manager confirmed, watch this, that Lewis came in on March 22nd and completed a job application. She also conducted an informal interview with him on that date. When asked if Lewis would be expecting a call back for a formal interview, she stated no. The manager provided video surveillance footage showing Lewis arriving at 1:12 p.m. and leaving, get this family, at 1:37 p.m. on March 22nd. Now remember, the kids were left alone at the McDonald's in the evening. It was 4 o'clock, late afternoon, around 4:30. The kids were left alone at 4:30, around 4:30. So he did go to the interview earlier that day at 1:12. This is surveillance footage. 1:12. It shows him arriving at the hotel, West Bank Inn, and leaving at 1:37 p.m. That's 25 minutes. From the time he walked in to the time he left, the West Bank Inn was 25 minutes. Remember, the hotel is right next door to the McDonald's. Based on the video evidence and the timeline provided by all parties involved, it was determined that Lewis was not engaged in a job interview or application process during the time the children were left unattended. Furthermore, by his own admission, he was walking between McDonald's and the Hendricks apartments on foot during that time, a report says. The distance between these two locations is approximately 0.4 miles. So less than a half a mile between the McDonald's and the apartment complex. Remember, he was gone for 1 hour and 42 minutes. It was determined that a misdemeanor charge of deprivation of a minor was appropriate to ensure the welfare of the children and facilitate a review of the matter by the court, the sheriff's office said. This charge ensures all parties have an opportunity to appear before a judge to determine if the children are receiving appropriate care. Now, as you all know, Chris Lewis's arrest sparked widespread public outcry nationwide. Many people argue that he should not be charged criminally, including me. He should not be charged for trying to provide for his family. Remember, including me. I said so. He shouldn't be charged. That should have been some grace because he was trying to provide for his family. But remember, I'm going off the information that I have. The information I had was a father who's in desperate need of financial support left his children unattended at a McDonald's. When he returned, he was arrested. And I said, even though that's against the law and the law was right, well within their right to make the arrest, I thought that he should have been given grace. I thought that, look, man, more flexibility is appropriate here. We know it's against the law, but considering the circumstances, let's give a brother a hand up instead of handcuffs. That's what I'm thinking, because I'm going off the information I know. The information I know is we got a desperate father who's in need, who's in dire need of financial support, who, because he couldn't find a babysitter, must have left his kids at McDonald's to go do this job interview so he can better provide for his children. Well, the lie detector test said that was a lie because based on all the surveillance footage, remember they tracked the surveillance footage from the hotel, from the motel, from the hotel to the restaurant to the apartment complex. They got all the surveillance footage from all three locations and in between. Remember, by his own admission, he said he was just walking around the apartment complex. Doing what for an hour and 42 minutes while your kids are sitting in McDonald's? So we all gave him grace because we thinking he's at a job interview, right? We all gave him grace because we're thinking, okay, he at a job interview. Man, give the man a break. Give the man a break. Antonio Brown, the football player, he set up a GoFundMe. And that campaign raised over 60,000. I think it's might be at 70, 80,000 by now. Many people supported it. I supported one of my subscribers who started a GoFundMe, AJ. I shared the story. I thought it was a good look. Based on the information I had. And guess what? For anybody that got something slick to say, I'll share another damn story. If I believe it's real, if I think it's the right thing to do, I'll share it again. I'm not going to stop trying to help people that I think is in need. If I can do something, if I can rally the troops, if I can use my platform, I'm not going to stop doing that because you got a few suckers that's got something slick to say. And because you got a few people that's going to lie and take advantage of a person's good nature or good deeds. This is one of those situations where the truth came to light. I don't know how they thought they was going to keep this under wraps. I don't believe he thought that this would become a national story. Whatever he was doing for that 1 hour and 42 minutes, besides walking around, I don't see him just walking around in circles for a whole hour and 42 minutes. But whatever he was doing, he was not at a job interview. And that's the point. So even if he said he lost his license or whatever, and he was just looking around for a whole hour and 42 minutes for his license, he still lied because he told us he was at an interview. Somebody said, so he didn't go to the interview. He went to an interview earlier in the day. Remember, this happened, he got arrested at a little after 6 o'clock when he showed back up. He got arrested at 6:12 when he showed up at the McDonald's after his kid's mother was already there to pick them up. He got arrested then. But two customers who were at the McDonald's said that they witnessed him leave his kids around 4:30 p.m. His interview was at 1. He walked into the interview at 1:12. Surveillance footage shows him walking into the interview at 1:12, walking into the building, the hotel where the interview was conducted at. The West Bank Inn at 1:12. West Bank Inn at 1:12. He walks in. He walks out at 1:37. That's 25 minutes. So the interview was well past the time that he left the kids. Well, not past, but well before the time that he left the kids at McDonald's unattended. I was still trying to figure out a way to give him grace. I was talking to my guy, AJ, who started the GoFundMe, and I was like, man, let's make sure before we pull the plug on this thing. Let's make sure. Let's make sure before we pull the plug on it, right? So here's what happened. AJ contacts, he gets a message from a person who is saying that they are Chris Lewis. First, he gets a message from a woman who says she's his mother with an email address. And then he gets a message from someone claiming to be Chris himself with the same email address and a phone number. So we thinking it's legit. Okay, this is him, because we gotta verify, right? Because we want to get this dude this money. AJ gives him directions to verify his identity with his ID card or driver's license and a video of himself saying, I am the real Chris Lewis. Short video. I am the real Chris Lewis. So he would know exactly who he's talking to, and who he's communicating with. He never responded. Not only that, AJ called him several times last night. He never answered the phone from the number that he left. To make sure that, man, we was absolutely right about this, because I'm already feeling some type of way, I'll make a phone call myself. Not one phone call, not two. Man, I called this dude back to back. I blew his phone up. He never answered the phone. Now, if you know you're in dire need of help, and you reached out for help, and somebody's on the other end giving you help, and you don't respond, you don't answer, there's something fishy about that. We try to give him the benefit of doubt, thinking, okay, maybe he's still locked up, right? And maybe somebody was trying to, be a little slick by pretending to be him so that they wouldn't lose any momentum, and we wouldn't get discouraged about promoting the GoFundMe. And then we get the news from on the ground in Augusta that the Popos have new evidence that shows inconsistencies in his story. For two reasons, we didn't want the story to be false. This is the last story that I ever want to tell y'all right now. We didn't want the story to be false for two reasons. One, we wanted to help the brother. We wanted to help the brother. Two, we didn't want to discourage people from helping out in the future, because these type of cases put a bitter taste in people's mouths, and it makes people really hesitant. And while people should be on guard, you should be on guard. And I guess it's okay to an extent to even be hesitant. But it also makes some people not even give at all, and it also make those people out there who love reporting about negative shit. See that? I told you. Look at that. Look at them. I told you, man. They out here trying to scam people. Look at them. You know, man. Come on, man. Look at this. Look at them. You got people out there that's like that. They can't wait to report some negative shit. See, I told you. I told you. And I said it. I said it when I first shared the GoFundMe. I said that, you know, it's a possibility that, you know, this dude might not be all the way on the up and up. Go back and look at the video. It's right there. You can go look at it. Whatever the first video that I put out about this, and I talked and I shared the GoFundMe, it's right there. So yeah, so I was fully aware that that could be the case. I was fully aware that, you know, this dude, you know, might not be on the up and up, right? I was fully aware of that. But I gave him the benefit of doubt based on the overall, you know, situation and everything that I saw about the case. You know, so overall, I was like, okay, you know, if I got it wrong, well, I got it wrong. But I ain't gonna stop trying to help people, you know, because you got a few people out there that take advantage of folks, you know. And this is one of those situations where, look, nothing ventured, nothing gained, but there were some people who invested money, and those people all are receiving a full refund. There is a process. GoFundMe asks you to fill out a form, and then it talks about how do you want to have all the money? Do you want to refund individuals, some people, or all people, something like that? And you know, in this case, it was all. So everybody who donated to that particular GoFundMe are receiving a full refund. I don't know if it's happened yet, but I know that the paperwork has been submitted. I want to show y'all one of the correspondence between AJ, and the person that was purported to be Chris Lewis. Let's see, where is it? So check this out, fam. Look at that. Look at that. That's the email from the person who purported to be Chris Lewis from yesterday. So this guy says, right in the front right there, you can see his number, 706. You can see the area code 706, and the rest of the number that's been blacked out. Right up here, you see his email address, and the other half of it, the Gmail part of it, has been blocked out. But this person said, "This is Chris Lewis. I truly appreciate this. Me and my family have gone through serious hardships. We've been homeless since November. Man, this would benefit us so much. When we got that message, fam, we was like, okay, yeah, okay, we got him. You know what I'm saying? We finally made contact with him. We made contact with him. So then, so my guy, AJ, I tell AJ, I say, man, man, tell him to verify his ID. Tell him to send us a video. Tell him to send a video and his ID, so we can verify that that's really him, right? So, and here's that message. AJ said, "We are excited to hear from you. In addition to the funds being raised, we also have access to lawyers who want to provide their services pro bono to help you through the legal process. I need verification of your identity so we can proceed with sending the funds from your GoFundMe campaign. Please provide the necessary details or documentation to confirm your identity. This is to ensure the proper transfer of funds. Once verified, we'll proceed with the transfer process promptly. Looking forward to your response." Okay, so please provide a copy of your driver's license or ID card and a short video with the following message. "Hello, I am the real Chris Lewis." That's it. That's it. He never responded. He never responded. If you're in family, if you're in dire need of some bread and you got access to be able to communicate with somebody and send them a message about getting you that bread, and then when they ask you to send them verification, and then you just go cold, everything go black, that's very suspicious. He left a phone number and an email address that he never answered. He never answered the emails that were sent to him, and he never picked up the phone. So that's what led me to believe that dude was not being straight up. So I was already telling AJ, man, pull the plug, bro. I think it's time to pull the plug. But then we got the message from the sheriff department, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, and that pretty much confirmed our suspicions. So I don't know how this can be explained from his side. I don't know how he can explain this to be able to get that money, the other money that's out there. I don't know what these other guys are going to do. I don't know what they're going to do about the other GoFundMe's out there, but I've washed my hands to this. I'm done. Maybe he has some explanation. Maybe he has some type of explanation to all of this, but I don't know what he can say, to make people really believe him. From everything that I gathered, if it was just the police side of the story, I might still be holding on to a shred of hope and benefit of doubt. But I saw with my own eyes and I heard with my own ears communications. And whoever sent those messages out, I don't even know if dude actually sent the messages. I don't know if it was just a straight up person trying to, trying to get to the money or whatever. Somebody else trying to get to the money. I guess they thought they was going, like thought they was probably dealing with a dummy or something, and somebody was just going, all they had to do was send an email address and claim to be him and send a phone number, and we was just going to reach out and send some email and say, yeah, okay, here go the money. They're just going to put somebody on the phone that sound like him. I don't know if he was on the phone. I don't know if he's still locked up, out, whatever. I don't know. And then, people can still communicate while they're in jail anyway. They can still, people have electronic communications while they're in jail. So, but we was trying to give the dude the benefit of the doubt the entire time. If he really was on hard times and he ended up getting locked up behind leaving his kids at the McDonald's, perhaps a more plausible story, and then he would have been able to get to them funds and actually do something with those funds. But I don't know, in the wake of all of this information, fam, this new information, I don't think that they're gonna let dude get to that money. I don't think they're gonna let him get to that money. And that's a shame, because if he actually really did lose his ID, all he had to do was say so. He could have mentioned going to the job interview. Look, man, I went to a job interview earlier. I went and I was supposed to take this backpack to my kid's mom, and I couldn't find her. In the middle of that, I lost my ID. I was really trying to find it because, I need a job, and I know I can't get a job without it. Like, technology gonna bust you, bro. Like, if you coming up with something slick, you talking about you was over here and you was over there, technology gonna rat you out. You ain't gonna be able to get away with that stuff. Man, technology is the new Sherlock Holmes. Technology say, book them, Dano. This is why, like, when you do these fundraisers, like, technology gonna, if you ain't right, technology gonna rat you out. So when you participate in these fundraisers, it's a good idea to not connect the person that you're raising the funds for immediately. Like, don't give them access to the funds immediately. Wait. Give it a waiting period, even if you waited a week, but you can verify who they are first. Go ahead and verify who they are. But I would say a minimum 72 hours. Wait, minimum 72 hours before you release those funds, because once you set up those funds to go to a certain bank account, that's where that money going, and you can't change that bank account. So you got to get it right. All right, fam. If you're just not coming in, I'll recap. So here's the story. Chris Lewis, the guy who left his kids at a local McDonald's in Augusta, Georgia, to go job hunting, has sparked debate and sympathy across the country. But law enforcement, Richmond County Sheriff's Office specifically says, not so fast. On Wednesday, in response to the outcry of requests from local and national media, Richmond County authorities released a full report Wednesday with more details into their investigation, saying the father was not really looking for a job while the children were at McDonald's. But he did go to a job hunting event earlier that day. He did go job hunting earlier that day. Chris Lewis, a 24-year-old father from Augusta, Georgia, was arrested on March 22nd after leaving his children ages 10, 6, and 1 at a McDonald's with a playground, telling deputies that he was attending a job interview nearby. Right there, fam. That's the first lie. Chris Lewis, a 24-year-old father from Augusta, Georgia, was arrested on March 22nd after leaving his children ages 10, 6, and 1 at a McDonald's with a playground, telling deputies he was attending a job interview nearby. Why tell that lie when you know they are going to verify? And it's easy to verify. You were attending a job, huh? Where? Well, let's go see about that. Anyway, family, the story continues. Lewis, who did not have a car, walked his children to the McDonald's and felt it was a safer place to leave them for the short time he would be at the interview. After he returned to pick them up, a customer at the McDonald's called the police, and Lewis was arrested and charged with deprivation of a minor. Captain Danny Whitehead conducted a follow-up investigation and noticed inconsistencies regarding the whereabouts of Lewis during the period when the children were left unattended at the restaurant. The 10-year-old told officers that she, her father, and her 2 siblings had walked to McDonald's from the Hendricks apartments. She said her daddy left to deliver a backpack to the Hendricks apartments and told her he would return shortly. The child also mentioned that her father frequently left them alone. 2 witnesses both reported arriving at the restaurant at approximately 4:30 p.m. Saturday and observing the children there without adult supervision. They recalled that the father was on the phone with someone and was overheard saying he needed to drop something off. The witnesses stated that after this, the father left McDonald's, leaving the children behind. They estimated the children were alone for approximately an hour and a half. The 10-year-old daughter contacted her mother on social media at approximately 6 p.m. The mother, Lisette Picardo, arrived at McDonald's at approximately 6:12 p.m. She advised that Mr. Lewis was supposed to deliver a backpack to her mother at the Hendricks apartments and had been told that he must take the children with him, a sheriff's report says. Picardo immediately called Mr. Lewis, who answered and stated he was on his way back to McDonald's from the Hendricks. Lewis arrived at McDonald's at approximately 6:18 p.m., still in possession of the backpack. He told Picardo that he had been trying to find her to give her the backpack. She reminded him that he was not supposed to leave the children unattended. Lewis claimed he and the children were at McDonald's earlier that day because he had filled out a job application at the West Bank Inn, located adjacent to McDonald's. Not down the street, not around the corner, adjacent to McDonald's, and was waiting for a call back for a possible interview. He said he left the delivery to deliver the backpack to the Hendricks, but during that time he lost his ID and another card and had been retracing his steps to find them. To verify this, Captain Whitehead visited the West Bank Inn and spoke with the manager. She confirmed that Lewis came on March 22nd and completed a job application. She also conducted an informal interview with him on that date. When asked if Lewis would be expecting a call back for a formal interview, she stated no. The manager provided video surveillance footage showing Lewis arriving at 1:12 p.m. and leaving at 1:37 p.m. on March 22nd. Based on the video evidence and the timeline provided by all parties involved, it was determined that Lewis was not engaged in a job interview or application process during the time the children were left unattended. Remember, fam, that was the basis of everybody giving. That's what led to so many bleeding hearts. That's what so many people were so passionate about. The fact that you had a father who was reduced to leaving his children unattended at a public place so that he could go and try to find a job and make life better for them. That's why the story went viral. That is why there was such an outpouring of compassion and help and aid. Based on the video evidence and the timeline provided by all parties involved, it was determined that Lewis was not engaged in a job interview or application process during the time the children were left unattended. Furthermore, by his own admission, he was walking between McDonald's and the Hendricks apartments on foot during that period. The distance between these two locations is approximately 4 miles, 0.4 miles. It was determined that a misdemeanor charge of deprivation of a minor was appropriate to ensure the welfare of the children and facilitate a review of the matter by the court. This charge ensures that all parties have an opportunity to appear before a judge to determine if the children are receiving appropriate care, said the sheriff's office. So here we are. So what are we going to do with all that money? Give it back? Give it back to the people who gave it freely, who gave it from the heart? And here's the thing, fam, the trip part about it is ain't nobody who gave is really tripping on the money, because everybody give what they can give, right? You only give what you can give. You're not going to break yourself giving to these type of causes, right? So you're not going to break yourself. So everybody gave what they can give. So it's not about the money. If people had their choices, they would rather him be on the up and up and give the money. They would rather see him take the money than to get the money back. So it's not about the money. What's more important here is the energy invested in this story, the energy that people invested in it. These type of stories are heartbreaking and heart-wrenching. Stories like these, it make people sad. It makes people angry. These type of stories, they make people like give up on humanity. Arresting a man for trying to better himself and his family. Not the wisest choice, not the wisest way to go about doing it, but he was desperate. Shouldn't there be some grace? So that's why people were helping out. That's why people were so invested. And there were people who could relate to that. It's a heart-wrenching story. Unfortunately, it turns out that it was bogus. China Carter is in the building. Buckhorst, DC is in the building. Alanders Harris, cut it out. Cut it out. Talking about this is what happens when we try to help our own people. Cut it out, man. Stop. This is what happens sometimes when anybody try to help their own people. Black people ain't got no exclusivity to deception. Somebody say you homeless on the internet, family. Don't you know that's all you need is a Wi-Fi connection to get on the internet? It's a whole lot of people that's homeless on the internet. And guess what else? They got Cash App. They homeless and they got a Cash App. All you need is a phone and a Wi-Fi connect, you in. You can talk on the phone without even having a phone service. They got ways for you to get on the phone and not even have phone service. Yeah, all you need is a Wi-Fi connect. You in there. What's up, Angela? Franco, I see you. All right, fam, that's my time. I hate to bring y'all this type of story, fam. I really did hate to bring this type of story to you, but it was the responsible thing to do. I think that you should be as loud when you make your correction as you do when you make your first statement. However you put it out there, if you're wrong about it, you got to be just as loud. So there it is. That's my time, fam. I appreciate y'all. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. No more talk.